Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It is July 8th, and we are here once again on the San Diego Brewers Guild Happy Hour at Home Instagram live stream. I am Beth Demmin, freelance journalist and beer writer here in San Diego. You can find my account on at The Delighted Bite here on Instagram and on Twitter, just Delighted Bite. We are going to have a really, I think, extra super good show this week. They're always A+, but this week might be A++, despite some of the news coming out of bars having to close again, which is obviously super a bummer for all the breweries and beer affiliated businesses, beer centric businesses and things like that are going to have to pivot once again in the face of COVID-19. So hopefully we'll be able to touch on a little bit of that and how people have been affected, how they've had to change their operations once again, how we as a beer community can best support them and remain safe and still get our hands on some good independent San Diego craft beer. So, this week we've got a couple guests from San Diego and one from the East as well. We're going to kick things off with Kelsey McNair from North Park Beer Company. We're going to follow him up with the crew at Ebullition Brew Works up in Vista. I practiced saying that and it didn't make one lick of a difference, so oh well. And then we are going to be joined with the co-founder and head brewer of Weathered Souls in San Antonio, Marcus. And if you are unfamiliar with Weathered Souls, they're the brewery that launched the Black is Beautiful campaign. So luckily this is from Pure Project. I am super psyched to try it. Chris, the beer educator, dropped it off to me earlier today. So we are super appreciative to be able to have a taste test of that live. And then we're going to wrap things up with our own beer archivist, Judith Downey, who is with the Cal State San Marcos Brew Chive, our homegrown beer archive. So that'll be a super fun way to wrap things up. But before further ado, let's crack open this 9.3% Imperial Stout, which is just, super casual for a Wednesday afternoon. But I did tell my husband I might need to have him help me. I've got my Carl Strauss glass, and don't bother telling me it's the wrong glass to drink it out of because I don't care. And Imperial Stout. Brewed to support justice and equality for people of color, hosted by Weathered Souls Brewing Company in San Antonio, Texas. This hop-forward dry Imperial Stout is hand-brewed and canned by Pure Project in San Diego. So I think as of right now, the beer is beautiful, or the Black is Beautiful beer collaboration movement has around 1,000 breweries worldwide participating. So I am told that this particular iteration is similar to the classic Sierra Nevada Stout. So we'll certainly see. Super dry, super roasty, definitely 9.3. This is going to be something that I think would go really, really well with some nice, dark chocolate, or a nice dessert or something like that. It's a little more bitter than you would expect for some of the, really luscious Imperial Stouts, but super nicely balanced, not cloying at all. This is really excellent. I'm going to have to pace myself with the ABV so that I have both of my, I've still got all my marbles firing on all cylinders by the time we get to Judith. So, little background on the Black is Beautiful movement. If you are unfamiliar, it's a collaborative effort to raise awareness for the injustices people of color face daily and raise funds for police brutality reform and legal defenses for those who have been wronged. So one of the things that has been discussed just in terms of these types of initiative style beer collaborations is how the funds are used and things like that. I don't know if everybody's familiar with the Sierra Nevada Resilience IPA to raise money for the victims of last year's campfires, but I know that they had some trouble collecting the proceeds to give to those victims from the breweries who were supposed to give the proceeds to them. So this is going to avoid problems like that, hopefully, because they are asking that every individual brewery that is participating choose their own local foundation that is dedicated towards police reform and legal defenses. Also to find an organization that supports equality and inclusion. They're asking people who are participating to commit to the long-term work of equality. So I think that's going to be the kicker. I know that there's quite a few San Diego breweries who are participating, and it looks like they're all choosing to give their proceeds to a couple of different places. So I'm looking forward to seeing, forward movement and long-term commitment to change, at least from San Diego, at the very, very least. If not, obviously, we hope everybody who is participating. So hopefully we'll be able to avoid some of that interesting optics that, there's a little bit of a disassociation between people who did the Resilience IPA and then didn't follow through with the requirements asked by Sierra Nevada. So fingers crossed. I think that this is a great platform for change, and I'm hoping that San Diego is able to really, help push the needle forward in terms of these conversations about equity and inclusion in the craft beer scene. So a little bit of news before we get too far along. I like to put together a couple hiring initiatives so that people are aware of who's hiring if you are in need of a job. It looks like Wild Barrel is hiring somebody for their canning line, which makes sense because everybody's canning now. Abnormal is looking for a full-time and a part-time cellar person, so be sure to check out the Rancho Bernardo spot if you're looking to get in as a cellar person. And AleSmith is still looking for a packaging assistant and a packaging technician. So it sounds like there's going to be a lot of opportunity for, the production side of things, just as the pandemic continues to go and it's not so much front of house operations. So be sure to check out Wild Barrel, Abnormal, and AleSmith for a couple of open positions here in San Diego. And we talked about this last week, but Miramar's Pure Project, which thank you again for participating and providing me with this great, delicious beer. They are opening up their latest spot in Carlsbad Village, their latest tasting room this Friday. I'm saying that, and I'm realizing now that I don't know if anything has changed because of all of the operations that have changed coming down from the governor, but fingers crossed they're still opening, and would love to support them as they embark on that latest location. So this is the Brewers Guild, the San Diego Brewers Guild live stream. So if you are looking for the most up-to-date information about tasting rooms and government mandates and anything like that, please do go to sdbeer.com. The Brewers Guild is putting together all the resources that employees, owners, consumers might need to know just as things continue to change during these days. So sdbeer.com. If you have a question or anything that is not addressed on the website, please email info@sdbeer.com. And the last thing before we bring on our first guest, which is Kelsey, the Brewers Guild does put together for their brewery members and affiliate members the Tap into Knowledge series. It's an educational series that covers a variety of topics. The first topic for the first virtual Tap into Knowledge session is implicit bias in the workplace and what it is and what you can do about it. That's a really huge conversation that people are having right now, just in terms of embracing diversity, inclusion, and equity measures in operations in their breweries. It often starts with the hiring process and understanding where you even unintentionally or with good intentions might have some implicit bias, some unconscious bias, and things that might be preventing people of color, Black applicants, any applicants outside the, quote unquote, craft beer norm that might prevent them from feeling comfortable or welcome in your space. So please do look into that Tap into Knowledge session to really start to look inwardly and see where you can make some improvements on your hiring process. So I'm going to get Kelsey right now, and just please do remember that this is interactive. If you have a question or a comment, please note it here during the live stream, and I will do my best to get to it. So without further ado, let's see if Kelsey is here. I'm going to assume you're on the North Park Beer Co. Instagram, and hopefully you are because I just added them. So we'll see if it's Kelsey. Hello.
Hey, Beth. How's it going?
Good. Are you hiding in your cold box or what?
I'm in my office, so
How you doing today?
hanging in, just keeping up with everything that we've got going on, which is very different than it ever was.
Yeah, I feel like when we first started doing these live streams, it was sort of expect the unexpected. We knew that every day was going to be different. We kind of hit a new norm, and now things are sort of chaotic in disarray again. So I really can't imagine what it's like having that this yo-yo of emotions and operations continuing. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, one thing I wanted to touch on is recently were very open about some of the struggles that your front of house operations were coming across, not just from trying to work within the government mandates, but coming across difficult consumers and patrons coming in and trying to balance that whole situation. Could you talk a little bit about how things have worked for you and how you're kind of rolling with it?
Yeah, I mean, when Dine-In first started, we were reluctant to get on board with it because we were just kind of in an observational state, seeing what other businesses around us were doing,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of seeing what the general public was doing. And, our comfort zone was definitely being tested, just kind of observing. And then when, drink in was allowed without there any predication of you having to buy food,
Mm-hmm.
we put together a plan, and came up with all of the right protocols that would keep us in very tight compliance on our end.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that, the general public just, regardless of how many rules you set down in front of them or, try and lay out that you need them to comply for just the sanity of our staff, like we just were not seeing it. And I mean, to the point that we've got like, that like that goes around North Park. There's like a party cycle where like 16 or 20 people will be on like this communal bike, and it'll drop people off at different pubs. Like
That
that
is
is
not still
that
happening.
that stopped by our place the Saturday, like before the week that we decided to close, with
Oh my.
18 people. So you know the there's too many people out there that just don't appreciate the severity of the situation. And when I have staff members at the end of a shift that are basically, in tears
Yeah.
over what they've been subjected to because they take it as a personal attack,
Yeah.
um, there's no way that we can possibly operate in that environment.
No.
Just and we were just getting pelted with it over and over again. And a lot of it's very minor, like, oh, I forgot to put on my mask to go to the bathroom. I'm not wearing my mask when I walk in the door, but I'll put it
Mhm.
on, when I get to the host stand, stuff like that. Um, just it was just constantly being tossed at us, and we just said, enough is enough. We're gonna take a step back, and you know, and then we watched the numbers rise. So I feel really good about closing a week before the county told us to.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. I mean, financially, it's not a good place to be,
Hmm.
especially when there's a lot of other businesses that are still open around us. But
Hmm.
I value the safety of my employees first and foremost.
Absolutely. I mean, I lived in North Park for 10 years. I moved a little east about, yeah, in 2018. And I got to say, I am so grateful to not be in North Park right now, just by sheer volume of human beings around. Like, it doesn't even matter how many people are being respectful. It just takes one person to kind of screw it up for everybody. And it seems
Totally.
like, and North Park is an absolute hub. I mean, it's just one of the best spots in San Diego, if not the country, one of the best neighborhoods for beer. And so having to be put in that position where you really don't feel like, government locally, regionally, state, or, federally has your back. I mean, what on earth are you supposed to do? It took you a long time to open North Park Beer Company because you
Yeah.
wanted it to be absolutely perfect. And now it's sort of your hand. It seems like an impossible choice. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't,
I
yeah,
mean, we've been operating as a production brewery since the middle of March.
yeah.
We're canning almost 100% of what we make now, and for a brewery that has 9 serving tanks in a cold box that are designed to pour volumes of beer directly, from the faucet to a glass and into a customer's hand, this is
Hmm.
a real weird way to work.
Yeah.
This brewery is not designed to do what we're doing, but
Hmm.
we're doing all we can to get by.
So you're still open for doing like to go beer sales?
Yeah, so we still have to go. You can walk in, get to go. If you want to order online, you can do curbside pickup. We also do delivery almost to every zip code in the county,
Mm-hmm.
and we do have statewide shipping right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're we are getting our beer out there, but again, it's just a different way to do it.
Well, and you guys have canned a lot. I mean, probably not as much as you are doing now, but you had a pretty good foundation for being able to get to that. You were set up at least a little bit. So, have you
Yep.
started to see any issues now that we've rolled back, like with just getting raw materials? I've seen, we saw some can and crowler shortages in the beginning, but has that kind of started to get a little bit easier?
Yeah, we definitely out of the gate. Like we ran out of crowlers at
Oh
one
yeah.
point. We had, we were on the schedule with Mobile West, who does our canning, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to run out of 16-ounce cans," so we had to real quick pivot and decide to can one of our beers in 12-ounce cans.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, we only had to do that once.
Mm-hmm.
Just for us, the format's a little strange. But for the most part, we've been able to keep up. I feel like the supply chain has been adapting just as much as we have,
Yeah.
which is good because it'd be really really clunky if like one day to the next you just don't know what you're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
So
So it's if I'm not mistaken, you guys have a Black is Beautiful coming out.
we do. It was on the schedule to can and release today. We decided to hold it back a week.
Mm-hmm.
As you were kind of going through your tasting notes at the beginning of this, very roast forward, very intense
Mm-hmm.
beer. And we kind of want to give it another week to mellow out a little bit before we
Mm-hmm.
actually release it to the public. We found that the recipe as designed is a very old school imperial stout that is super roast forward, very bitter,
Mm-hmm.
very aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
not unlike a Sierra Nevada stout, but
Mm-hmm.
a higher gravity version of it.
Mm-hmm.
We feel better about just kind of like holding it back a little bit longer before we can put it out for everybody.
Well, I'd say it sounds like it's worth the wait. So, what other beers do you have available for people who want to come in and get some beer to go?
Geez, we've got probably close to 10 beers in cans right now.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Just,
Okay.
just had our fourth anniversary, so we still have some of that. That was a hazy triple IPA. We're down to the last 10 or so cases of that one. We've got Hop Fu Batch 50, which is tasting awesome. We did some minor recipe tweaks to that. That's been a dynamic beer over time. Just me wanting to tinker and continue to evolve.
That's
The,
what I was going to
the,
say. I was like, you're still fiddling with it after all these years.
I can't quit. I can't quit. It's that's my baby. It's like what if I do this? What if I do that? So that's just what I
That's
do.
so funny.
But yeah, those are kind of staples. Party Cup, which is our mosaic lager. Everybody's always stoked when that's around. We've got a bunch of that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Infinite Content's another fan favorite. Hazy double dry hopped Galaxy Forward IPA. What else do we got?
Well,
We've
that
got
sounds like a lot. You've got a
there,
lot of
there's a
stuff
bunch.
to choose from, no doubt.
And
So,
we're still filling crowlers of things we have on draft. We have a lot of higher gravity like stouts and whatnot that are still available that way.
yeah.
Um, yeah. And then we are going to be doing another bottle release soon, which is our fourth anniversary stout,
Mm-hmm.
which has toasted pistachios, toasted coconut, vanilla, and Mostra coffee. And that one's super rich, decadent, definitely more of the new school imperial stouts. And
Sweet.
we'll be making more info available about that next week.
Sounds good. Well, before we wrap up, where can people keep up with everything on social media with North Park Beer Co?
Definitely head to at North Park Beer Co. on Instagram, Facebook / North Park Beer Co. Head to our website, find out about how you can get our beer to go, whether it's delivery or pickup or shipping. And then we are definitely doing a lot of distro, so our beers are showing up in a lot of the better bottle shops around town.
Sweet.
So,
Well, one of them's right across the street from you, so
yep,
that's it. That's an easy journey.
yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much for checking in, and we'll catch you next time. Good luck in the meantime.
Thank you.
All
All right,
right. Cheers,
bye.
Kelsey. All right, that was Kelsey McNair from North Park Beer Company, one of the best beer breweries in one of the best beer neighborhoods in the country. So, check them out if you haven't been in the last week. They're great. Wear a mask, please and thank you. All right, we're going to keep things going with the crew up in Vista. I think I saw you on my list already. Maybe not. It is hard to say. I'm not actually sure who I'm supposed to talk to from Ebullition. And I also might be saying that name like really wrong because I am known for mispronouncing things. So if who I'm supposed to talk to from Ebullition is watching, you can either request that I add you onto here, or you can just like pop on and there you are. I see you now. Ebullition Brew Works. I'm going to add you right now, and we will keep chatting and drinking. Two of my favorites. All right, just click yes. Just click accept and you'll come on. It'll be great. Oh my gosh, this is dangerous. 9.3. God, I'll be ruined for the rest of the day. All right, it says I'm still waiting for you. So anytime you're ready, just anytime. We will keep things on a tight schedule before we get to Marcus and Judith. So anybody on Ebullition, just go ahead. Oh, hi. Hi, Weathered Souls. I see that you're here. You're prepared. We might need to enable your mic. Okay, no problem. We're waiting for you. Enable your mic. We're all ready. We're excited. The anticipation. Oh, you are unable. There we go. All right, we'll nail it. We'll nail it. Hi, Beerifornia. Thanks for saying hi.
There we go.
There we go. We got it.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
All
Got my
right,
beer
let's do.
mask.
Oh yeah, I'm at home. I forget. I don't get out much, so let's do a quick intro. Who you are, where you're with, and maybe a little tour.
Yeah, Jesse Richardson here, Ebullition Brew Works, one of the co-founders here. My partner Eric's working the back. I'm coming to you from Bressy Ranch, Carlsbad, our new location.
New location. All right.
Yeah.
Let me get a. I haven't been there. Let's get a little tour. It's looking good.
Yeah.
There you go. How new? Like when new?
We opened January 15th and had to close down shortly after that because of COVID to go only.
Mm-hmm.
And we've recently opened back up about 6 weeks ago or so. And the reception's been great. We brought on a new chef, Chef Gunner he comes from Viewpoint, and Mille Fleur out of Rancho Santa Fe. I mean, just a phenomenal chef, and he really has done some stellar stuff with our menu, and we're coupling that with beer and just creating that whole gastronomy for experience for everyone. So it's been good.
So how, since you're offering beer and food, how have the recent mandates, kind of shuttering some more things, have they affected you at all, or is it still kind of?
Yeah. We've just recently, as of yesterday, moved to all outdoor seating, and our landlord has extended that beyond our our property line here and allowed us to move into the sidewalk and provide extra seating from the inside and bring that out. We have a decent patio, so we're already able to have a decent amount of outdoor seating, but this allows us to really have a lot more people and not feel the impact as greatly as it could be. But our brewery location is we're shutting that down right now. It doesn't make sense from a staffing point, and also it's close enough that we can push people over here maybe if they still want to get our beer, and we'll still continue to brew out of there and bring the beer over to this location.
So that's just temporary until you can kind of.
That's temporary until we get further notice on being able to open back up. So yeah, we're doing to go out of here. We also have the outdoor dining, but also Grubhub, DoorDash. We're working on Uber Eats. We have our own online ordering system. So, we're able to still operate in some capacity. So it's been good.
What are some of the beers that people can get from you right now?
We pretty much got our whole lineup right now. We just added a new Pog seltzer to the lineup, little passion
Smart,
fruit orange guava. It's very
smart.
tasty, great for summer. That one's been very popular, and we're doing some running specials all the time, and just having fun with it. People can see it on Instagram, see what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, how have things, gone for you? So, Bressy Ranch is kind of, there's not a ton of, I mean, Pizza Port is out there, but there's not a
hmm
ton of other
hmm
places. Like, how have the community kind of, rallied around you?
Great. I mean, they've really kept us going, even through the whole shutdown where we could only do to
Mm-hmm.
go.
Mm-hmm.
We met a lot of people from the community and really
Mm-hmm.
built some nice relationships. And plus, all of our regulars from Vista and San Marcos that supported us at our brewery location, they would come out all the way over here and support us and even get to go beer through Grubhub and
Mm-hmm.
Brew Catalog guys were great. Jason, I mean, just rocking it out for us. So it's been really phenomenal to feel the support there.
That is so awesome. So, where are some of the places that like have you ventured out at all, or has it been to try a couple beers from around town, or has it kind of been just buckling down and keeping things going there?
Yeah, unfortunately, we had to furlough a lot of staff, so it's just my partners and I just pretty much here from sun up to sundown,
Yeah,
and just
definitely.
trying to keep things rocking and phasing people back in when we can, and we've done that with more of the kitchen staff, so we can really get that food on point, and we're providing service for the front of house and going back and forth to our other location when we could. But now we'll just be at this location
Hmm.
and trying to bring people over here instead.
Are you doing any recommendations for some of the food that you still have with some of the beers you still have, like any pairings or anything like that, or just kind of
Yes,
whatever people want?
yeah, we do a few of those things. I mean, the Korean hot wings, number one seller, and we pair those with our green ghost lager.
Hmm.
Nice, light and crisp, dry hop lager, just goes with those wings so well to cut that spice. And then we have if you're looking for something a little sweeter, a little richer, more decadent, we have our apple turnover with caramelized apple, and we make a vanilla porter caramel sauce. And then we
Hmm.
pair that with the vanilla porter or the strawberry honey, little ice cream on there. I mean, we're doing some fun stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like you're a place where people can go and get beer, but they can also get like, you know, why
Food
stop?
and
Why stop at just beer?
totally,
Treat
yeah, we're bringing the
yourself.
two together. I mean, food and beer hand in hand. I mean, you gotta love it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's great to hear that. I feel like
Ooh,
San Diego is
sorry,
such a humongous. Oh, not at all. Oh,
little
those.
black garlic shrimp. Sorry, I just got an order of a new special we're running
Well, now
right
you're just
now.
teasing. Now you're
Now I'm
just
just
teasing
teasing you,
us.
just teasing you.
Ugh. Yeah, I was like, I think I ate like half of an old croissant right before this. Just.
Oh yeah,
Ugh. You're
so
up in you're up in the game, so I'll have to get in on that. But anyway, well, where's the best way for people to kind of keep up with everything that's going on, like your hours, your offerings, things like that?
yeah, I mean, Instagram for sure at Ebullition Brew or Ebullition Gastro. So we have two different accounts for those. The website, Facebook. We're trying to stay up on updating everything as it's changing rapidly. So,
Yeah.
some of the things may differ for a bit, but we're working on keeping that consistency across Google and Yelp and all the different platforms. So
But social media
doing what
might
we
be
can.
the
Social,
fastest and the quickest.
yeah, especially IG. I mean, that one's really, it's so instantaneous. IG and Facebook are probably the two best.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah,
Enjoy that shrimp. I'm
cheers.
not jealous at all. And
Thank you.
we'll check in later. Good luck.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, that was Jesse from Ebullition and Bressy Ranch, and I did see that I was getting some messages from Marcus. There we go. I'm so glad you figured it out. I didn't have a chance to reply back while we were talking to people. So, hello.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing so good. How are you doing today?
Doing well. You caught me trying to multitask of cooking too. So
Cooking.
yeah.
Well, I'll have to look at you
Oh,
sideways
I'm
then.
sorry.
No,
I
that's all
thought it
right.
would. I thought it would change to landscape.
No, well, Instagram, they're behind the times.
Yep.
They're not so tech savvy. All right, well, let's do just a quick intro since you are not of San Diego.
Uh-huh.
Can you just introduce yourself and where you're from?
Yeah. So Marcus Baskerville, head brewer and co-owner of Weathered Souls Brewing Company.
So how are things in San Antonio right now?
Um, Interesting because the governor basically just reshut everything down dealing with COVID. So
Yep.
I don't know if a lot of people have been kind of too familiar with what's going on in Texas, but Texas decided to be one of the guinea pigs of opening up, and then within the process of that, realized that they shouldn't have been, and the cases have been skyrocketing around town. So we're in a very interesting place here, considering we just had to close our tap room again over the last 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, I have a friend in Austin who's giving us regular updates from Texas and
Uh-huh.
not sounding great.
Not at all.
No. So, well, let's talk about something a little bit more positive. I mean, you've created a global collaboration movement, really, for
Uh-huh.
Black is Beautiful. I would love to hear just a little bit about a background from it in case people, well, I hope everybody watching is familiar, but we'll just assume.
So the Black is Beautiful initiative was originally a call to all of the craft breweries in the United States, but as time has gone, we've obviously have surpassed that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're in about 19 countries, all 50 states, and about 980-ish breweries.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely surpassed what my original goal was. But basically, what this is a call to all breweries worldwide to collaborate in an initiative, brewing a stout base that supports equality and inclusion for Black people and other people of color.
So I imagine that this was. I would say this isn't overdue, but I would say just the whole mix of what has been happening with the pandemic, with protests around the country, and like you said,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even protests against police brutality in the United States have expanded globally. I mean, this is not,
Exactly.
yeah, this is beyond our own borders, and so I think that this was a very unique place and time to finally, I wouldn't say start this conversation, but continue the conversation that has been happening for a long time, and maybe people are just finally starting to listen, and everybody who has said stick to beer is realizing that that's just not possible or moral anymore.
Exactly. And you look at the brewing industry, and it's not very demographic in the slightest as far as representation. But
Mm-hmm.
we know that the brewing industry is inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the brewing industry in itself is starting to recognize its lack of diversity, and when this initiative popped up, it kind of was the perfect storm for them to go ahead and get involved and participate, knowing that it should have probably been done a very long time ago.
Well, and frankly, it's easy to participate. Like you just start with the stout. You can pick if you want to collaborate with somebody or not.
Yep.
You can pick the local organization that you can give proceeds to. Like this isn't. It seems pretty. I mean, organized, but pretty loose. Like you can participate on your own terms or not.
Exactly. So I didn't. We wanted as many people to participate as possible. So we
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to really dictate as far as it needs to be this or that. We gave a pretty open stout base that you can get pretty creative with. I mean, for people that do make pastry stouts, you can even take that recipe and turn it into a pastry stout if that's what you do. It's very versatile. And
Mm-hmm.
so basically what my thought process was dealing with that was to create a canvas and then let everybody use their paint brushes and participate however they want to.
How has this changed the way that Weathered Souls operates? I mean, I imagine that you guys were probably just a local brewery, just kind of serving the San Antonio region and beyond possibly, but now you're on a global scale.
Yes, so things have definitely adjusted in that sense. Again, we weren't expecting for things to get this far. So I never thought it out too as far as what was going to come next after the initial initiative. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, being said that, we have a lot more eyes on us as far as what we're doing now. And
Mm-hmm.
I think in the course of the month, we've had about 12,000 new followers on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It's all positive, but at the end of the day, we're just the catalyst for getting this initiative started.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about our brewery or even me. It's more so getting the message out, getting people involved, and getting the actual physical initiative to grow.
Well, and I think it's been interesting to see who has decided to be involved. I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but founders who went through a humongously public, racist lawsuit.
Yeah.
They're participating. What was it like to get the email from them asking?
So actually, we didn't get an email from founders. Founders actually called us. So dealing with that, they contacted us and they knew that they were going to get some. I'm sorry, I dropped my phone.
That's okay. I love that you're multitasking.
Yeah, I just got home, so the kids want to see Dad too.
Of course.
So so they contacted us and actually wanted to go ahead and show their support and involvement, and they asked if they could involve themselves because they knew that they were going to receive some clapback.
Of course.
They knew what the response was going to be, and I'm a very blunt individual, so I told them flat out, dealing with the black people and the black delegation and that's in craft beer, their opinion is probably going to be F founders, and even in my opinion, until you show me different, is basically F founders. But they've gone and have tried to create, tried to touch on the initiative, and they've admitted that they obviously need some things to change, and it'll be curious to see where they end up taking it and what changes they actually implement in their brewery to make a difference.
Well, I mean, I certainly hope that they're, continuing to be or starting to be transparent about some of those changes, because I agree, like a lot of these conversations are very front facing, and that is important. I think it's crucial for people to speak out loud about what they believe in, what their values are and things like that. But it's the stuff that goes on behind the scenes when nobody's watching that's going to make the real difference. That's going to push the real change forward. And so, we'll certainly see. I think that this is going to be a real challenge for a lot of people to, put up or shut up.
Yep, exactly.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and, even then, just the beer is only part of the message. It's what people do in the long run. That's what's the most important. What are you going to do to make physical change, right? So making the donations and having the beer is just one aspect of it. But let's see what you do actually within your brewery for the long haul to make some physical change, and that's what the important thing of this initiative is about.
Absolutely. Well, I, for one, am very appreciative that you were able to get this off the ground. I am amazed and just absolutely thrilled at how far it's gone already. Hopefully everybody's in it for the long haul. But where can people keep up with everything at Weathered Souls?
Yeah, so our website is weathersoulsbrewing.beer. But best option is always going to be Instagram and Facebook. So Weathered Souls Brewing Co. And then anything that if consumers want to get updated on the initiative, they can sign up at the blackisbeautiful.beer website. We're going to actually start sending newsletters out this week. I've been so busy, I haven't really kept track of that.
I can't imagine why.
We're going to start sending out newsletters this week into regards of some of the things going on the consumer side, and then also go ahead and send out some more updates for the brewers and stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, we all look forward to that, especially here in San Diego.
So all the San Diego brewers, who are you most excited about seeing brew the Black is Beautiful beer?
I'm pretty excited for this AleSmith super group.
Me too.
Because that's going to be ridiculous. I'm just like, there's like 17 breweries from San Diego, but like 15 of them were at the AleSmith thing.
Yeah. So I know that Will Izor they're dealing with production for L. Smith. He went ahead and put that together, and so
Yeah.
I'm really excited. That's the big homie, so I'm really excited to kind of see how that turns out and what that develops into. I've always had a huge San Diego influence. I'm originally from Sacramento.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, that's why I have such a good relationship with the breweries and brewers and stuff like that in San Diego.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm really excited. Actually, I'm really excited about that collab, and hopefully L.
Yeah.
Smith goes ahead and sends us some.
Well, and then the Chula Vista Brewery and Thunderhawk collaboration, that'll be, because
That
those
should be
were,
good too.
yeah, that's those are the top two. I mean, this. Thank you so much, Chris, for the Pure Project one. But I mean, they're all going to be winners, so I look forward to trying them all for sure.
Oh yeah, I forgot that Pure Projects, they come out tomorrow, right?
Oh,
Yours comes
wow.
out tomorrow.
I got
Tomorrow
mine,
today.
so
I know I posted it on my Facebook page. We have a really good relationship with Winslow and Jensen and Chris. So
nice.
yeah, hopefully they go ahead and send me some too.
I mean, Chris drove this to my house today, so he'll probably send.
Well, I'm gonna text them later then and say, hey, if you're driving beers over, you can at least drive to the USPS store, right?
I think he's watching. I think he'll hook it up. Not to worry.
I'm sure he will.
Well, thank you so much for checking in. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and congratulations on the launching this whole thing, and good luck with everything moving forward. We really appreciate you tuning in and chatting with me.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to see what else comes out of San Diego.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, have a good one. Cheers for now.
Too. Cheers.
Bye. All right, that was Marcus from San Antonio's Weathered Souls Brewing, who launched the Black is Beautiful global beer movement, which is phenomenal. I have goosebumps. I'm so thrilled that we were able to check in with him and talk a little bit about how San Diego is able to help with those efforts and help push initiatives towards justice and equity a little bit more further along in the craft beer scene. So we're going to wrap things up with one of my personal favorite people, Judith Downey, who is the archivist, the beer archivist at Cal State San Marcos. And we're going to talk, well, why tell you what we're going to talk about? We're just going to start talking. I agree. That was rad. Thank you, everybody, for chiming in, because I agree. I'm trying to slow down on this stout. Hi, Judith.
Hi.
Happy Wednesday. How you doing?
Well, this is my first Instagram. So
I know. I'm very excited.
It's all my fault.
No, well, it's like, really, you did the hard part. You just, like, you got on. So now we're just chatting, and it's easy.
Okay. You just keep telling me that.
All right. Well, so tell me a little bit about your role at Cal State San Marcos and what you do for the beer community there.
Well, originally I was a librarian doing instruction, and history was one of my areas. And several years ago, 3.5 years now to be exact, a program came through for engineering, which is a brewing certificate that we were considering offering at Cal State San Marcos. And the dean called me into the office with the associate dean, who is a home brewer, and said, what have we got on beer history? And I said, well, nothing. Nobody's ever asked me for any. And I was not drinking beer at the time, so I did not know what was going on in this community.
Foolish.
I am so
Foolish
late to the party.
days.
I am so late to the party. But Char, the associate dean, said, well, the San Diego scene is just exploding. Somebody ought to be collecting this history. And I said, well, I'll find out. Come to find out that nobody was collecting current history. And it was like, well, then of course it was, well, we need to do it. And I said, well, then that means me. And I'm a hunter-gatherer, hoarder at heart. So this has really appealed to me. The problem is that getting out there, there are still breweries I haven't visited. But collecting the information to save it, because if you go back to the pre-prohibition breweries that we had in San Diego, that information is gone. I mean, people tossed it. Mm-hmm. And yet brewing, the social aspects, the political aspects, the legal aspects, the science, fashion, I mean, because we have beer styles and things, mm-hmm. that reflects so much of everything that's going on in our lives. Mm-hmm. It really needs to be saved. So I've made it my personal mission to go out there and collect and bug people. And it's easy to collect the stuff, glassware, coasters, growlers, things like that. What I really need to collect are the stories from the individuals. Mm-hmm. What inspired them? Where did they see the successes? Where did they see the failures? I mean, you can hear, I hope you hear the passion in me for
I
collecting
do.
stuff
Oh
and
yeah.
saving it. Because at first, when I started this, I was kind of like, well, I'm out there by myself. Nobody else is doing this. And it turns out that there are people. The Smithsonian has a beer historian. Oregon State has a hops archivist that's also collecting beer history in the Northwest. So there are people out there that are really trying to look at it from a scholarly aspect while having fun with the community as well.
Yeah.
So,
So you're saying beer's not just beer.
no, it's not.
More.
It is so much more.
You heard it here, probably not first, but I will reiterate that until my dying day. So when you're talking about collecting stories from people, you recently launched a survey that sent out to basically everybody involved in the San Diego beer community. Talk a little bit about the goal of that initiative.
Okay. It's called A Glass Half Full. And what we've done at Cal State San Marcos is we're actually doing a North County community history archive of people's experiences during the COVID crisis. We've had some really prolific people submitting images, other people who are going to be giving us some artwork, all sorts of wonderful things, just because we know a little bit like the 1918 pandemic and things like that, but we don't know a lot because that history wasn't kept. And when we were talking about the Together Apart community archive, I went, well, I would love to see if we can't build something specifically for the San Diego beer community. Let's save those stories. I mean, people are being hit and hit hard. They're losing their community. They're losing their income. They're losing, their outlet for creativity. And then, of course, we just saw on Modern Times, I mean, they had 2 cases diagnosed, and that's hit them hard. So we need to save these stories. And so we did a big email blast. I've been trying to get the word out. Response has been light so far, but I know people are still processing and dealing with things. But if they would just go to, and I'm going to give you the plug here.
Please do.
Brewchive, BREWCHIVE.org. That's a short URL that will send you to our real URL. And on the front page of the Brewchive website, there is a link to Glass Half Full, and they can click on that. And I want everybody, producers, servers, consumers, everybody in the San Diego beer community to contribute their thoughts. They can certainly, again, contribute art or images or songs. If somebody's been writing a song, people express their lives in different ways. They can be anonymous if they choose. But it's just another way, especially in what we're doing now with all these electronics, where things can be so transient and here and gone. This is a way to save it. This is a way to record it. This is a way to show people it wasn't just the inconvenience of wearing a mask. It was, these are people's livelihoods. It's their passion. It's their community at stake. And so I think it's just extremely important to save. And I welcome everybody to participate.
Well, and I mean, when we're talking about San Diego specifically, Cal State San Marcos puts out the economic impact report every year. I mean, it's $1 billion business. Beer and San Diego are tied together in a way that very few things are. And so I think recording this kind of snapshot in time and how it's affected the community that drives San Diego in such a significant way is going to be absolutely crucial. I think it'll be interesting to see, the Museum of Beer has been in the works for, however long. And
about
I know
3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I know that this has obviously interrupted that in a huge way, but being able to kind of see this cohesively will be really fascinating. But in the meantime, where can people kind of check out what you have done, in the meantime? Is it still on that same website?
Yeah, brewchive.org. That's the short URL. We actually have a more official URL, but we've done the redirect. It's the easy one for people to remember and find.
I was going to say, somebody asked me for the survey link, and I was just like, oh, it's like BITLY 3-76. Like, there's no easy. So I'm glad that you did the redirect, because that was difficult.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I've really been imposing on the technology people in the library saying, please can we do this, please can we do that, and I need it now because I want to capture these stories because people are losing their jobs and they may not come back to the beer industry and the community is fracturing. And that's one thing that we have in San Diego, that in speaking to these other scholars I've spoken to over time, I've presented at conferences and we have a Google group and things like that. Pretty much they all come to me and say, what is going on with San Diego? How can you have so many breweries in a city, or county, when we've got more breweries going on than multiple states combined? And I go, it's the community here. The brewers work together. We support charities. We support each other. Somebody gets sick, everybody steps up. Something happens, everybody steps up. Everybody's got your back. They communicate, they share. And that's not something that we see as much in other regions of the country.
Or in other industries anywhere.
Right. Yeah. A lot of it's dog eat dog. I mean, I'm not going to help you because you're going to cut into my business. And okay. I see Estella, the godmother of beer, just said she's also the archivist for the Mujeres Brew Club, which yes, I am.
Good to know. Good to know. Add it to the old resume.
I'm especially interested in how women are finding a place in the brewing community. And that is something that, those are stories I'm trying to collect again. So, everybody who's listening, reach out to me. I've been trying to track people down. I'm persistent. You'll see me everywhere once we are back to being out again. And I'm going to collect those stories, but I need help. I need help.
Well, I think you and I need to work together a little bit more. We'll chat. Yeah. We'll chat after this because I like it. I like your mentality. We'll work on it.
And you're well known and you have a strong voice. So, I want to leverage that.
Stop. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, where can we keep up with everything that you're working on? That website, do you have a newsletter or any social media presence or anything like that?
Actually, the CSUSM library, we have a social media person who does do some posting through Facebook. So there's that. And like I said, I just got on Instagram. I am a dinosaur. They call me the goddess of darkness at work because computers like to blow up around me. So I'm always afraid of new technology. So
You're doing great.
I will try to start posting here on Instagram, Downey Judith. That's maybe I should come up with another handle, but my name.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's all good.
Yeah. So I'll be trying to post to Instagram once I get a little bit more experienced with it. And but the website, I just did some updating on it. There's some homebrew recipes from Greg Lorton, a longtime Quaff member. There are oral histories that right now we're in the middle of transcribing. So we will have some things from Steve Wagner and Jeff and Dandy Bagby and Rachel at Kilowatt, Amy Spackman. It just takes a long time to transcribe those. And then we're going to put up pieces on the website eventually. I'm getting a lot of stuff done at home because we're still working, but we can't be in the building. But there's lots of stuff I'm getting done that I couldn't get to while I was at work because I work with students when I'm actually available to them.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Silver lining.
And my Instagram, which is going to be, like I say, an adventure. And I'm on Facebook as well, Judith Downey, which I occasionally post there too. So I'm around. I much prefer working in person with people, but got to accommodate what we got now.
Fair enough. Well, I appreciate all of your efforts, and I'm sure we'll chat soon. And cheers for now. Thanks so much for checking in with us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Love
all right. Oh, thank you so much. All right. We'll see you later then.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. That was Judith Downey, the beer archivist for San Diego at large. And she was also our final guest. So I appreciate everybody who has stuck with us for the hour. And I hope that you enjoyed it, as I always do. I think I will probably try to share the very last bit of this with my husband. So I am actually, able to keep working for the rest of the day. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the San Diego Brewers Guild Happy Hour at Home Instagram live stream. We do this every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And if you are looking for anything else, I am Beth Demon. My Instagram is The Delighted Bite, and Twitter is just Delighted Bite. I am always happy to chat about anything that we talked about here on the live stream in greater detail as time allows. So if you would like to be a guest next week or a future week, please do reach out to info@sdbeer.com or shoot us a message here. And we love to have new guests on every single week. But until, next Wednesday, we will, stay in touch and keep drinking independent San Diego craft beer and, keep doing you. Wear a mask. Cheers until then. Bye-bye, everybody.